Wave 6 has been announced, as you all probably know, and with it comes 8 final tracks to the Booster Course Pass, of which one we already know, and that is of course Daisy Circuit from the Wii. Today, I'm going to go through some of my favorite maps that I'm hoping will join Daisy Circuit in Wave 6. Note, this is not a prediction. What's poppin' everyone, it's ShoddyFlow, and let's just get into it. No face cam for today because the city is messing with our sewage, so I can't shower and I have to take a massive No joke, I just watched 5 construction workers pull on one little rope. I'm gonna explode if they don't hurry the hell up. Now look, I feel like I gotta make this clear. I have opinions, such as, I don't like Mario Kart Tour that much. Kill me, right? Some people have been personally offended by my opinions on Tour, and to that I say, relax. I'll admit that a lot more people actually like Tour than I thought, which is fine. I don't care if you like Tour, but if you tell me that I should like Tour, you're crossing a line, bucko. By the way, the game must be amazing if the majority of replies were indifferent to its very existence. Anyway, I only mentioned Tour because Nintendo has been pulling tracks from Tour for each wave of the Booster Course Pass, and they're actually pretty damn good. I'll give Tour props for that. I cannot guarantee that my list will be as all-inclusive of things like Tour or GBA or SNES, okay? Let me reiterate. My wish list, my opinions. Okay, now that I've gone out of my way to piss people off and get those juicy interactions from angry comments, let's talk about the actual content of this video and try to have a good time. So of course, the first track of the Acorn Cup is Daisy Circuit, which I'm okay with. It's neither amazing nor bad. But the first track that I'm throwing out there is DS Delfino Square. Now I feel like I don't need to harp on the nostalgia factor that any given track has, because just about all of them make me pretty damn nostalgic. Delfino Square has always been one of my favorite tracks from the DS and Wii, as I love the Mario Sunshine vibes and it races pretty damn well. This track has some of the most claustrophobic stretches of any track in Mario Kart history. Driving through Isle Delfino and seeing all the Piantas just makes me feel so good inside for some reason. I just want to play as Pianta, please! The shortcuts on this map are also really neat and difficult to pull off. I'm holding out hope for Delfino Square. Also, Il Piantissimo clears Picha, and don't you forget that. Alright, now imagine if DK Summit and Rock Mountain had a kid. That's right, I'm talking about GCN DK Mountain. This iconic track has been around the block, having appeared in Double Dash to then make a resurgence in Wii. Whenever I think of DK Mountain, I just see that one video of bro on the bridge at the end, and they get hit by like 3 shells, a banana, and get bumped off the edge a few times, going from first to last. I feel like that perfectly describes this track. There's just a lot going on, and it's super fun. From the cannon launching you to the top of a volcano, to dodging the boulders while hitting switchback after switchback, this map really never drops the energy, and that's why I feel like they should bring it back. I think in Mario Kart 8 they could do a few more interesting things with it as well, like make that final bridge sway in the wind or something. I don't know. Let's move on. And to finish off the Acorn Cup, I've got another DS track. I know, Nintendo would never. But damn it, the DS tracks are so goated, man. We've got DS Bowser's Castle. As a kid, I always thought this track was so weird. Specifically the sections towards the end with that spinning pole you have to drive on. There's just a lot of moving pieces on this course and I find that exciting. I'm like all the Gen Z kids on TikTok just zoning out to Subway Surfers. I have a short attention span, okay? I need shit to stay interesting. And stay interesting DS Bowser's Castle does, with multiple alternate pathways. One thing I'll add that makes me like this track even more is that some alternate pathways are actually used as punishment for messing up the main pathway. For example, if you fall off the spinning pole at the end, then you gotta go way farther around. But it's simply cool that these areas even exist in the first place. Plus, I just realized that Mario Kart 8 almost has 96 tracks, but only a single Bowser's Castle. I mean, that's not normal. Usually there's at least like an SNES Bowser's Castle, but nope, not this time. Anyway, yeah, I think DS Bowser's Castle would be a good addition to Mario Kart 8. What do you guys think? Alright, and starting out the Spiny Cup, we have one of my favorite tracks in terms of theme, and that's GCN Dino Jungle. The prehistoric thing is dope as hell, and no other tracks have come in to occupy that niche. Just about every portion of this track has something interesting or something to avoid. I love how in the first half of the track you drive past the Brontosaurus's legs, and in the second half you circle around and might give him a little bonk on the nose with your front bumper. The bridge section going into the mountain is tricky and rewards skilled players. Not to mention the short tunnel phases between sections act as pseudo speed traps. There's the shortcut in the cave, which could be converted into a glider shortcut for Mario Kart 8, or they could throw in a glider ramp right at the end after the final turn so that you can glide through the first stretch on the second and third laps. This is just an extremely solid track from the theme to the race design. Bravo, bring back the Bronto. Circling back to what I said about DS having goated tracks, well, this next one is what I'm talking about, and probably what most of you have been waiting for. Of course, it is DS Airship Fortress. I feel like Nintendo has been edging us with this one because it hasn't shown up in the Booster Course Pass yet, but it has shown up in Mario Kart Tour. Normally I'd make a Tour bad joke there, but you know, I'm not trying to be a dick, so I'll admit that it's actually a very good sign for Airship Fortress to be featured in Tour, because it seems like damn near everything that's come into the Booster Course Pass has more or less just been ported over from Tour. Look man, I'll just come out and say it. Content-wise, Tour is a dream game, right? I could never imagine a roster that big, but gameplay-wise, it just feels icky and weird to me. But back to Airship Fortress. This map is goated. My favorite part has to be that right off the bat, you're literally just staring down the barrels of a firing line. Nintendo had a message with this track, and it's that they are not against the organized execution of their fan base. This track doesn't feature many shortcuts besides driving on the wall at the very start, but as far as theme, this track is so good. It's also fun to drive on and extremely nostalgic. If you don't remember playing as Shy Guy on the DS Airship Fortress with wireless connection and a bunch of your friends, I feel kind of bad for you. I don't know, man, something about this track just reminds me of my childhood, and it's probably just because it hasn't come back in a very long time. This is one of the only tracks to ever feature Rocky Wrench. Look out for that guy if you're an avid Shoddy Flow fan. It's really a simple track. Bullets, wrenches, lasers, cannon, drive around in circles, turn left, repeat. And god damn it, is it good. I don't think I need to argue for Airship Fortress much, to be honest. Y'all are probably with me on this one. Alright, now this is an interesting one because I have two tracks here, and I would like one of them, but I don't really care which one it is. I'm talking about 3DS, Woohoo Loop, and Maka Wuhu. Both of these tracks are point-to-point with amazing energy, just really vibey and pretty views the entire way through. Now, after reviewing these two to make sure I knew exactly what each track looked like, since they're kind of merged together in my brain, I'm confidently going with Maka Wuhu. The sunset on this track just sets the mood to go on a nice drive. Plus, Maka Wuhu has way more alternate pathways and shortcut opportunities, while also being a far more interesting track as a whole. Woohoo Loop is nice, but it's far more beginner-coded than Maka Wuhu. The glider section at the end of Maka Wuhu really ties it together as a great pick for Mario Kart 8. Plus, Mario Kart 7 leaned into the Wii Resort theme so much that they had two point-to-point tracks and a battle course all themed around Wuhu Island. So it's kind of surprising that none of them ever returned. In fact, Maka Wuhu and Woohoo Loop are the only tracks from Mario Kart 7 to have never returned in a later title. I get that Wii Resort is long gone, but I think that this track has so much interesting stuff going on that it would honestly be a shame for it to never return. Were these tracks just a marketing push for Wii Resort? We may never know. Alright, now it's time to reveal the final track of my Wave 6 wishlist, but not before some honorable mentions because it was so hard to choose just 7 tracks. Because I'm not as fair to the older games and Tour as Nintendo, I'm gonna just take one course from every Mario game. First up, we got SNES Bowser's Castle 3. The Tour version, because it's more interesting and I don't like flat courses. Next up is GBA Lakeside Park, also the Tour version for the same reason. Also, this track looks very pretty in Tour. I actually quite like it. From the N64, we've got Sherbet Land. I actually really liked this track on the Wii and I wouldn't mind it returning. Next up, we got GCN Wario Coliseum. I think that there are other tracks from Double Dash that you could go with, but I just went with this one because it's super unique and chaotic. And time for another DS track, we've got Luigi's Mansion. Not much to be said except that I'm surprised it hasn't returned yet. We've got Toad's Factory coming next from the Wii, of course. If this were added, then there would be a new best Toad track in the game. Step aside, Toad Harbor. For Mario Kart 7's honorable mention, I guess it's kind of Woohoo Loop, but nah, we got Wario Shipyard. And you Tour fans, don't worry, I won't fully neglect you this time because I think that Piranha Plant Pipeline looks pretty damn cool, and I think we might genuinely get it because there's a 100% chance of a Tour track going in Wave 6. And that is all of our honorable mentions, so let's finally see what the last track is gonna be. Y'all probably saw this coming from a mile away, but I am choosing Wii Rainbow Road. This is one of the most interesting and difficult Rainbow Roads of all time. This is easily the best Rainbow Road that doesn't have some kind of alternate theme to it. It's quite literally just a Rainbow Road in space. But it races so well, and if you're not good at it, the track really punishes you. Like, there are so many twisty sharp turns and so few guardrails. Be careful out there, folks. I'm really surprised that it hasn't returned yet outside of Mario Kart Tour, but like I said for Airship Fortress, it's a reassuring sign, especially since it was added this year. Wii Rainbow Road is extra iconic thanks to Mario Kart Wii's legendary status in the gaming world, and I won't be surprised if it ends up in Wave 6. Well, you Funky Kong fanatics, that's gonna do it for me today. Did you like the tracks I chose? Feel like I missed some? Let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, be sure to like and subscribe as it really helps me out. Special thanks to Jackson, Huddy, and Jake for supporting me on Patreon. You guys rule. And if you stuck around this far, then I'll give you a little something to be excited about because part 6 of the Ultimate Roster Reveal is a banger and I can't wait to get it out to you guys. That being said, that's all I got. Shoddy out. Deuces.